Join me. Together we can rule the galaxy far and sun.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Hello there, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princesses. This is Todd Hoffman and Trent Hoffman. You're listening to Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 168. Today, we're going to be looking at episode 5 of season 3 of the Bad Batch, called The Return. Trent will be joining me in a little bit on our quick review of Bad Batch. But first up, we had a really cool weekend. I just had a fun Saturday, just hanging out and doing our thing with doing a family thing, which was great. Trent and I started off doing this F3 workout in the morning, and then we had a fun family day of just doing we went and saw Kung Fu Panda 4 at the old movie theater, and it was really good. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but I didn't realize there was such a big gap between Kung Fu Panda 3, which came out in 2016, and now Kung Fu Panda 4 that came out in 2024 here. You got Jack Black as Kung Fu Panda, and it's great. We had a great time. It was really super fun. Fun fact is that Hans Zimmer did the music, which is kind of cool. And it's just a really good and fun film, so highly recommended for the family. But it just came out, so I don't want to ruin it for everybody. But I thought, which I really enjoyed, was that the trailer didn't give out too much information, so I was pleasantly surprised to see how this film turned out. So I highly recommend that. And then we ended up doing some pizza. Always good to end the day with some pizza with some with our Grammy, and it was just a great time. We had a really good time. So and then a big shout out to Greg from Rebel Base Card. We've been riffing a little bit on doing some new stuff for just logo stuff, and looking to do a cool business card idea. So been working on that this week with Greg, so big shout out to him, and thank you for all your work. And then new Fortnite came out on March the 8th, Myths and Mortals, chapter 5, season 2, and it's all about Greek mythology. And the president of Epic used a Han Solo meme because they were having some technical difficulties. So the picture was of Han in the Falcon needing his hydro spanner and trying to get things fixed out. But big update that kicked off Friday, and then their servers weren't working, and so they had another update that you had to do. It was about probably 9 or 10 o'clock when actually everything went to get going. So they were riddled with technical difficulties, but they got it out. We started playing late on Friday and played a lot on Saturday night, so it was a lot of fun. Not a huge difference in the total map. There was a couple new sections, but interested to see how this goes. And hey, if you can get the kids learn about Greek mythology, I think it's pretty cool. So that is super fun. So let's move on to our main topic. So this one is called The Return, and it kind of the title hits pretty closely to the vest, and so you have the kind of finish last week with Crosshair coming out of the ship. And there's Hunter and Wrecker. And so now we have a little reunion that happens, and we get to go, and we go back to our favorite place besides Scarif, and that's Pabu. And so we have basically Crosshair doing some target practice, and AZ1, which is a nice droid, helping him do target practice, and he's not hitting his mark. And so there's still this kind of rough patch between, Crosshair and really Wrecker and Hunter, and just trying to like get that worked out. There is a reunion with Echo. Echo shows up, which is great. And so now we have kind of the gang back together. Obviously, they mentioned Tech, but they're trying to get intel on some of the on the data pad from Nalase, but obviously encrypted, and they don't have Tech's expertise. So the only way they can try to get it is go into an Imperial outpost. So now this is a revisit to the past, where essentially you have Crosshair knowing about this snowy outpost that was on Barton 4 or 5. I'm not sure, but it's where he took out the Imperial officer and basically got him in trouble. So we have the situation where they get to this base. There's some sensor array stuff that they have to shut down and get the power back on. And because they shut down some of these sensors at the depot, there is, of course, a giant monster. And before this, we get to see a little bit of Crosshair, just remembering the fallen clone troopers. And just a smidge before that, Wrecker gives Crosshair his old armor. So gang's kind of back together. And so we essentially have Hunter and Crosshair working together to defeat this kind of giant bug creature or something like that. And they realize that Crosshair explains, like, hey, what happened? And he's like, I was just trying to be a good soldier. And so they have this kind of heated argument, I guess. But at the end of the line, Hunter continues to push him, and then basically says, I killed an Imperial officer. And, it's kind of like that really kind of put it over the edge for Hunter, understanding that, like, okay, this is what you're doing, and, totally understand. So we have this kind of, we have two kind of animals. We have this kind of like winged vulture, ice vulture, that is seen in the previous episode with Crosshair and at that station. And then now we have this kind of giant serpentine worm creature. And so we essentially have Hunter and Crosshair trying to lure the worm out of the range of the sensors, so then they can flip the switch. And so that's what Wrecker volunteers to do, while Crosshair and Hunter work on trying to get this bug worm creature going on. So this basically, Omega also wants to join the fight. So we have the whole crew: Badger, Omega, Crosshair, Hunter, all that. And they get the worm outside the perimeter, and they manage to pull Hunter up from underneath the ice where he was at with the worm and got it all taken care of. And so the sensors are taken care of. Hunter gets free with Crosshair. And so now we have this kind of, I guess, this tragedy of the situation, but then Hunter takes care of it with Crosshair, and they kind of work it out, And so then we have kind of this group hug between Hunter, Crosshair, and Wrecker, and Echo is kind of in the distance with Omega and just say, hey, last time they didn't have, there was no blood involved, and so at the end here, Crosshair basically says, he admits to Hunter, like, there's great deceit and recklessness, I guess, with the Empire, a darker energy that he wasn't aware of. And so not understanding the enemy is a big thing here. And I think they all underestimated the Empire, which is kind of crazy. And so Crosshair kind of says, hey, I regret what I did. And Hunter says the same thing, like, hey, we could have been better, and essentially we get the ice vulture again screeching or whatever, and then it cuts and basically they depart an Echo ship. And so there you have it. Like, not my favorite episode out of all of them so far, but a necessary one, understanding like they have to bridge that gap, and they do. So yeah, it's a solid episode. So why don't we take a listen to see what Trent thought of this episode? So here you go.
Hey. Big T, low T. Backflip. So we just finished The Return, episode 5 of season 3, Bad Batch. What do you think, buddy?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
So The Return was really kind of the return of Crosshair into the group, and still kind of got the shakes, not hitting his targets, but they had beef. There's beef. This could have called The Return of Beef. Of the beef. Return of the beef. So Crosshair and Hunter don't trust each other, but they need to activate the data pad. So they go to I forget what planet it was, but basically Crosshair was there before with the other clones, and that's where he shot the Imperial guy. But they had a big old monster fight.
Corkscrew kind of monster.
Yeah, corkscrew kind of tunneling worm thing, and they were trying to divert power, and it turned off the sensors, and then backflip, the old critter got close and almost took out the ship. So, but then Hunter and Crosshair worked together, and then at the end they made up, and they basically said, I thought I was trying to be a good soldier, and then they didn't know that the Empire was
bad.
They were bad. So there you go. So The Return. But like, yeah, they worked it out, and Echo's like, hey, at least there's not blood this time, man. They worked it out.
It's a miracle.
The miracle. Yeah, so nothing too crazy in this episode. Nothing like, but it was just Hunter and really Crosshair working it out. And like, we have to work it out with each other. Sometimes we got beef, and we need to work it out. So there you go.
Sometimes a lot of people have beef.
Yeah, they got beef.
Two vegans are arguing. Is it still beef?
There it is. That's a good one. Hey, man, we're about 50 days away from C2E2.
Yippee!
Yippee! We can't wait for that. So there you go. There's a quick cut.
No, it's about a month and a half.
Yeah, about a month and a half. Yeah, man. So there you go. All right. Well, that's our quick cut on Bad Batch: The Return.
Yep.
Peace.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, again, trying to enjoy this episode. I hope you enjoyed our little review. Those are kind of our hot takes right after the episode. And, Lil T enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's Star Wars. It's good. And I like I said, it's not horrible, but this is definitely kind of one of those, I would not say it's a throwaway episode, but I just feel like this is a bridge into, other episodes to come. And they needed to, like I said, take the past and get moving forward. And that's a big hurdle for all the clones here in Bad Batch, and just trying to get the crew back together before they face other challenging, tasks and missions. And, again, this is something like, if you don't fix your family first, then things won't work out the best. And so this is really what this episode is all about. So there you go. All right, for our Light It All Up, what is your favorite character in Kung Fu Panda series? So drop us an email at bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com, and we'd love to send some swag your way. And tell us what your favorite character in Kung Fu Panda series is. So there you have it. Thanks again, Space Wizards, Plastic Spaceman, and Rebel Princesses, for listening to another episode of Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. You can find us on the socials, Big T Little T at Instagram, or Big T Little T podcast on Instagram, BLILT podcast on Twitter, and twitch.tv/Big T Little T. We'll be streaming some Myths and Mortals coming up here. We couldn't get it to this weekend, but hopefully soon we'll be streaming some of that stuff. Hey, we got stickers. We want to hear from you. So comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcasts, or give us a 5-star review on Spotify, and drop us, drop that review in email, bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com, and we'd love to read your questions or or read your ratings on the next episode. So definitely do that, and we'll send you some stickers and fun stuff like that. So next week, yep, you got it, more Bad Batch. And so now remember, truly wonderful the mind of a child is, and may the Force be with you always. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Dad, look at the droid selling queso.
It's not polite to talk about others like that.
It's okay, kids. What are the chances he's gonna hear us?
It's high. It's very high. Don't worry. You can make up for your embarrassment by procuring some of my queso. It has flavor.
Only K2's Mucho Queso is made from a blend of Bantha and Thala siren milks.
Here, ingest this.
Ew, it stinks.
I could say the same to you.
What?
This is so good.
Congratulations. Your taste buds are being rescued.
Daddy, let's buy it.
Your behavior, young lady, is continually unexpected.
Rebels will love the home-style meltiness of K2's Mucho Queso. The Empire? Well, Marva said it best.
Let's get going, kids.
Try K2's Mucho Queso. You'll love it. Cassian said you had to.
It is time to take the next step on your journey.
I'm not going to be the Dragon Warrior anymore?
You will advance to spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace.
Inner peace. Inner peace.
Keep your surf off my turf!
Dinner, please. Dinner with peas in a sesame soy glaze. This is not working at all.
Tai Lung, big fan. Once I possess the kung fu of every master villain, no one will dare question my power.
Not even the great Dragon Warrior.
Who's that?
The most powerful shape-shifting sorceress, the Chameleon.
How do I find this, the Chameleon?
I'm gonna lead you right to her front door.
It was against an army!
Then we'll just have to get an army of our own.
What is this place?
The best crooks and criminals live here.
You're a wanted criminal?
You sound surprised. Is it surprising?
Now you kids be careful of those fireworks.
Violence makes our tummies tingle.
Why should we help you?
We can take down the Chameleon together. Being the Dragon Warrior, it's who I am. Skadoosh. What do I know about being a spiritual leader?
What is it you're holding?
A cookie?
You were chosen to become something more than you already are.
How should we do this? Quick and painless? Or slow and painful?
Slow and painful.
You finally met your match, chameleon.
We're not so different, you and I.
Skadoosh. Stand back. I'm gonna kick my butt.
Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back.